everybody? It is Rocco, your boy, coming at you again with another Age of Sigmar video. With me, I have a guest, and we are going to be talking about things that scare Slaves to Darkness players. Say hello to Bobo, the Over Tyrant, also known as Bobo. Hey, we did it. You may recognize the name from some of my training arc videos. The Slaves to Darkness player that I've been working with. You know, at every edition and every update and everything, you need to kind of relearn your army. I'm helping him because he's been playing this book since the drop, over 30 games. We're trying to make this a more serious tournament experience. Almost forgot my train of thought there. But we have the experience overall, and we're here to help you, dear viewer. Bobo, introduce yourself. Say a fun fact. What you got for me?
Hi.
Wonderful.
Bobo. Cool.
And to go with my lovely Canadian guest, I don't have a Canadian tuxedo, but I did the next best thing, and I am wearing a toque. So I feel like we're getting there. Now, again, the point of this series, too, is with all my corny jokes, the whole thing aside, if you are new to an army, you don't know what you need to look out for in hard counters and bad matchups and things. And if you are frustrated at getting your butt kicked by an army, in this case, we'll focus on Slaves to Darkness, what do you look out for to get into them? Like, do you need to bring certain mechanics? You need to go and play a certain faction to really get one over on them? But before we get into that, Bobo, what is, or who are the Slaves to Darkness in the Age of Sigmar? Give me that elevator pitch.
Alright, the Slaves to Darkness are big damage, big brawling boys.
Okay.
And they got big armor with them.
Yeah, they're the classic, if you played Fantasy Battle, or if you're going to be playing the old world when that drops, they're your armored steel legion of crazy humans coming at you on horseback, on foot. Sometimes they wear heavy armor with ward saves. Sometimes they are demons that are coming in. Sometimes they, well, past iterations. Sometimes Be'lakor comes around. Archaon zaps you into the sword. You might have heard a meme or two on the internet, right? Fair to say?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And also, basically, one of the best ways to sum up like the more armored side of Slaves to Darkness is a joke on the Halo Discord called
which one?
Bridge for Zeta.
Bridge for Zeta.
And it's done, and it's like, and it's accompanied by the art of done by Adrian Smith with the Chaos Warrior with like the two weapons.
Yeah. Okay, I like it. Love that Discord. Yeah. So, again, you're tough. You can hit hard. You've got all these different buffs if you go for certain gods to mark your stuff. They've got banners and artifacts. There's a lot of micromanagement stuff to worry about, and there's some big things for the macro play. It is a pretty well-rounded army, right?
Yeah, and also all the cultist units, like the little Warcry warbands, they do their own neat things. Some are definitely above the rest.
Yeah.
In a lot of aspects. Some things are definitely trapped.
That's true.
A lot of the allies are.
That is true. That is true. There used to be some combos with like bringing in a Khorne hero that you could give Archaon bonuses to charge that got FAQ'd out, and there's been I think Nurgle stuff at one point had something in there. I know Slaanesh. Yeah, you could just go back and back and back in the history of this book and find there were some broken combos somewhere, some way.
Yeah.
But we're not.
What?
No, hit me with it. Screw it.
When the book came out, there was the combo with let me give me 2 seconds.
Sure.
There was the Khorne hero, the whip.
Yep.
I'll find the name for the dear viewers.
Oh sure. It used to be able to whip Archaon to give him +3 to charge.
No, you would do it on the Chosen, actually.
Ooh, that's even better.
Yeah, so you would do it on the Chosen when the book came out.
Okay.
Just cornmark them, send
Yep.
them over in a screaming bridge,
Yep.
and then just
Yep.
be +3 to charge. Well, technically +4 to charge, actually.
Which is beautiful. Now, man, like that's a cool combo. They've existed throughout this game, but you know, you're really tanky. You've got good mortal wound protection. Your whole army could be on a 3-up armor save if you cared.
Yeah.
How do you break through? What do you do? What are
Uh,
you worried about as a Slaves to Darkness player, besides me walking up with cities to you specifically?
r- Large amounts of mortal wounds onto
Okay.
the hammers that are not Varengard or Chaos Knights.
Wonderful. And
So if you are
yeah.
running Ozen,
Okay.
they have no mortal wound protection whatsoever.
Mm.
So anything that can do like mortal wounds on 6 to hit, wound, or just like a bajillion mortal wounds, like Swig Herd.
Okay. That's a good
Yeah.
call. Seraphon, with all their magic.
Seraphon, oof. The magic can be brutal.
Yeah.
Like even through the mortal wards, it can hurt a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, a lot. Sorry.
That's fair. That's fair.
-1 damage as well hurts
Oh.
so much.
That's a good shout out for Coalesce too, because yeah, there's a lot of things that are like Chosen being multi-damage, Varengard being multi-damage, the Knights on the charge, and then all of a sudden you're taking away those force multipliers. And Slaves to Darkness too have wonderful buffs. There's great spells. Like you were giving out like 3d6 charge. You were doing +1 to hit and wound on things. The Eye of the Gods table, which you can roll on it for units as well as heroes. And if it's a unit, they don't get turned into a spawn because there's like a better bracket so that you can stack rend and charging and stuff, right?
Yes. Note one thing to note on the units as well. Like,
Okay.
It's only just 1 dice. You don't roll 2.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah. It's only one. The best result you can get is the +1 rend, which is Slaughter Restraint.
There you go. But again, that's the thing with this army is sometimes they just get to do things. You know?
Yeah, it's just like, oh, I rolled the dice, cool, I got +1 rend.
Yeah.
For the rest of the battle.
Yep. And it stacks, which is great. So, are we looking to try to stop some of these synergies? Are we looking to like find ways to take out the heroes? Are we looking to stop Varengard? What are we doing here?
To stop slaves,
Yeah.
you have to try and like screens.
Okay.
Screens hurt them a fair bit because they don't have they don't have shooting really outside of like allying in like something like 20 Barb Archers, for example.
Yeah.
They don't have impact hits. They could do mortal wounds and stuff like that, but like you'd have to get like within 12 to do Blizzard and
Sure.
endless spells, which is a little janky.
It is, and you're also relying on the mechanic of the primal dice to help you out and hoping that your opponent doesn't stop you. So it's so I would even say going into a Slaves to Darkness matchup, if you do have the Andorian Acolytes battalion, to even go into Slaves to Darkness, where some of their lists just aren't taking it because they want the Warlord battalion, right? They want to take these extra artifacts and banners and things and spells and...
Yes.
I think that's fair play.
Usually for banner.
Okay. And these Oh, go on.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you're so polite, so Canadian. I love you, dude. So, and with these banners, too, that we're talking about, there are God-marked banners for certain God-marked units. Like the Nurgle banner goes on a Nurgle unit. It can worsen incoming Rend by 1. These are... In melee, which is huge. In Age of Sigmar, for whatever reason, even though shooting armies are wonderful and fun and totally interactive... everyone wants to play melee in this game, myself kind of included. But I love my Fusiliers, I love my Reavers, I'm gonna shut up now. But it's really strong into matchups. Like if you get paired into Khorne, who do have a lot of Ren 1, or even there are a lot of armies that are just Ren 1 on a lot of their stuff that this messes up. Because then your 3-up save can very easily become a 2-up with an all-out defense, and they're just there pillow fighting you, being pillow-fisted even, you know?
And then you just go, oh, nice unit you got there, lift.
Yep.
Just off the table.
So, units to look out for if you're playing against Slaves of Dark. Like, your important units are, like, Chosen, Varangard. Again, Knights on the Charge are a good one. Theridons, in my experience, are really good at putting out damage. Maybe not necessarily taking damage, but...
Oh, no, they
fold
extremely fast damage.
Like a cheap folding chair. They're just...
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, they fold faster than steel helms.
Yes.
Which is a feat.
It is a feat. Oh my goodness, my steel helms. I love them to death. I love when they give themselves a 6-up ward if I flub the ward save on my prayer. Never leave home without them. But so let's just recap a little bit here and see if we've already solved the Slaves to Darkness issue. All right, so they do have mortal wound protection in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But not everything. Chosen, that are your main damage output, do not have mortal wound saves. Your spells that can target heroes that put out these buffs can be great because as much as like you see like Kabbalist lists, which is a sub-faction there that makes every hero a wizard that's immortal, if I remember right.
Yeah, just every Slave Center is Kabbalist wizard.
Beautiful. So
Demon Priestess as well.
That's great. So then
the one thing they were good for.
Oh no. But
actually, okay, no, there's another use for them, but it's like not what you would expect.
All right, I'm curious now. We already derailed. Go ahead. What don't I expect them?
Just battle shock community. You just take trophy ranks with them, and then you just like run them in Ravagers, and basically you just have battle shocking hordes.
Well, that's something to look out for. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's a list. It's definitely a list.
It is a list. And it's something that if probably still really good in casual play, even if you're playing in like a league at your store to look out for.
Yeah. No, like Ravagers is actually like sleeper pick.
Well,
no honesty. Like
okay.
On TTS, I've I know people who've done good work with it.
Well,
that's that list.
Good. So in that case, we have another build to worry about. All right, talk to me about these Ravengers.
Okay, so basically just it's just a bajillion dudes.
Bajillion dudes, okay.
Yeah.
So
there's a couple spins on the list that I've seen. Like there's the Archaeon and just take as many Splintered Fang as you can shove into a list.
They're nice and cheap. You can get a lot of bodies.
Yeah, that's a lot of bodies that can fight on death with nails and stitches to hit.
Okay.
Yeah, although there's like 2 big weaknesses to that list.
Go on, let's hear them.
Roar. Roar is a big weakness of that list.
Okay, that's fair.
Because of the command ability from Archaeon.
To fight on death.
Yeah. You stop the command ability, Splintered Fang are just sitting there and they're just bodies.
And to make that more clear for the audience too, Archaeon gives out a command ability that allows fight on death. So that's why Roar, for the monster's action to roar Archaeon to stop that, is so huge. There's also spells you could do, like off the top of my head, Pall of Doom from Cities, which I never leave home without.
Pall of Doom, impact hits as well.
Impact hits.
So like stuff like Ogre charges.
Yeah.
We'll just mess them up.
Okay.
That's kind of specifically to the Ravagers.
Yeah. Also, I feel like just having... Because you're saying the mortal wound stuff themselves on the wound roll, but if you also like match the horde of them with good screens yourself, if you could just kind of pin them in place and pin Archaeon on like one far side of the board while you play the rest of the objectives, I feel like movement can be kind of a thing you can use against a Slaves to Darkness army.
Yeah. You could. Pinning them in place.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're durable enough to,
Yeah.
Pinning them in place is just really good as well.
Yeah.
Because they're not like chosen or not super fast. They physically have to move on the ground.
Yeah.
They are
Yeah.
unlike Vanguard. They don't have access to like 3d6 charge.
Not regularly, because you're getting it off of a spell, right?
Yeah.
So if
Although the
well,
spells are pretty consistent.
they are, and they're good. They're reasonable casting value too for a lot of
Yeah.
these, right? A lot of 6s and 7s. And Spike
Yeah, a
Tongue
lot
Curse
of-
is like a 3 or something stupid, right?
Yeah, but I don't.
Don't
I've
do
never
it.
seen
Never
anyone
do it.
actually-
Never do
No.
it. It always gets the spell and you always kill yourself.
Yeah. Unless you randomly play into Marathi and then it's like, haha, guess what? I get to just chip Marathi every turn.
Which is great. That's an interesting thing, because that you bring up.
You can't negate it, so.
Well, not just that, but on the flip side, a weakness of Slaves to Darkness, because you don't necessarily have the ranged output. Dealing with something like a Marathi has to be hard, huh?
Yeah.
You don't really have that chip damage for mortal wounds to like weaken and bracket monsters before you go in.
Like, you have to just swing into the monsters. Although, on the flip side, we have enough damage to deal with said monsters.
There you go. But you have to dictate those fights, right? You have to go in on the charge.
You can't just sit there and expect a tank to make a go. Well, depends on how hard they whiff.
That's fair. That's fair. There's always debuffs from things, and dice tell stories, whether we want them to or not, you know?
Oh my god.
Lord-
You're a Blackguard and their ward saves.
Yeah, and the amount of time... Like, I even have a buddy where he plays your other army and ogres. He had a Stonehorn, and my god, did it not die with all the 5-up ward saves he made. Sometimes you get those games, and sometimes you realize, hey, I probably needed some shooting to soften that thing up and have weight of dice.
Yeah.
So, is that another thing that Slaves to Darkness... Again, it's build dependent, because this army book has so many options.
Mhm.
You know, you've got, like, the Unit of Chosen. You've got... I know, as funny as it seems, Chaos Warriors can fight. They can fight on objectives to claim them. They get extra bonuses and stuff.
And they're
But-
fairly durable. Even
They
in,
are.
like a MSU, like just 10-man unit.
They are.
Although 20-man unit is a little...
Yeah.
It's a little...
Yeah? Why? Explain it to me.
They're just super slow. And
So
Yeah,
we're
they just
trading the
give you-
durability for the slowness, and it's awkward to move 20 models and get them all
Yeah.
where you need. Okay.
yeah, it's very awkward too, but it's very durable. I will say that. When you have like Mystic Shield and all out defense, it's like
Oh, yeah.
a very tough nut to crack.
It's a 2-up save, ignoring the first rend. It's great. So what?
Sorry.
No, go on.
If you want a real good anvil,
I do.
that's fast,
I love it. Yeah.
it also has almost like 10 less wounds, but about thrice the speed, and also has access to 3d6 charge.
Ooh.
10 knights, 10 Nurgle knights with the banner.
Man, it's almost like I've been yelling at you to take Nurgle Knights for a minute.
I have. No.
Good. And you've seen the light, which is great. It's Papa Nurgle's blessings. That's why I'm
Yes.
coughing right now. I'm good. I'm muting myself. It's been great. So let's bring this back here from all our tangents and
Yeah,
finding
sorry.
more viable lists. Don't ever apologize for talking Warhammer with me, god damn it. So
Okay.
Slaves to Darkness is a generally durable army that has several viable builds throughout the book, whether you're using Archeon, who's not at the best he's ever been, but he's still good. You're going Varangard, you can go Cavalry, you can go a lot of Kabbalists for magic, you can go a lot of the Cultists for bodies. But each build, for all its strengths, does have some somewhat, once you've played it a few times, an obvious glaring weakness that can be exploited. The faction as a whole doesn't have shooting, so if you have some backline things that you to keep your own buffs up, you're generally going to be kind of safe. If you have screens, you can take that first hit from the expensive Chosen and expensive Varangard,
And then
And-
swing back.
which is nice. Slaves to Darkness, if they need to kill something, need to be able to dictate that combat themselves, which is why we're saying screens and keeping your distances, like with how you deploy even. Don't deploy on the line against the Slaves to Darkness army, because then if they're going first, they just walk up and hit you. They don't...
Especially the Knights of the Empty Throne variant.
Oh, yeah.
Where you take 12 Varangard, 10 Nurgle Knights, and just run at your opponent, screaming.
Yeah. And that has the 5-up rally?
Yes, 5 rally on Varangard if the Varangard is the general.
Which is great.
Which they should be.
They should be. Yeah, and... again, ways to stop them, too, because they are dependent on getting their buffs off. Some are automatic, but a good chunk of them are spells, which are reliable to get off. But in this meta, in General's Handbook of we get extra dice, potentially, to dispel things, there are armies like Tzeentch and Seraphon out there that could be, or Teclis doing an auto-1 bind.
Yep, you just go, nope.
Yeah, Stormcast even have the best ally in the game to give to Order armies in the Knight and Canner for a once per game auto unbind on like a 120-point foot hero currently. That as soon as I drop this, I'm sure the battle scroll will come out and it'll be a different price point. So whatever.
I do agree with that.
Yeah, but there are ways to stop it, and also as you've said, they
or just add dice. Like,
have that too.
The miscast hurt a lot in this army.
Oh yeah.
Like, I've seen enough times where I just roll a miscast. Oh, 6 mortal wounds, and there's my foot hero.
Yeah, and then there goes your buff, and
the game.
That too.
If you're running one, right?
Yeah, and there are also going to be times where. Just to add on another thing, too, sometimes the grand strategies for STD aren't the easiest to obtain. So you have to do, like, a spellcasting savant. And then you need... Because the faction is pointed well, but things are still a little expensive. You get a lot. Again, like 180 currently around there for warriors that get...
180 for warriors.
Yeah, they get access to a 5-up ward save versus mortals. They've got these cool abilities. They're worth the points.
Yeah, but they used to be expensive.
They did, and they've gone down. Which is great. Again, this is a world we want to live in as a Chaos fan. But at the end of the day, there's still more of an elite army unless you go into a very specific build. So every time, you make them fail that ward save, you outnumber them on objectives because you bring hordes. These are all strategies that you, dear viewer, can bring in and also outgun them in shooting. They've got all these cool things when they're attacking. If they never reach your lines because you pop them dead, take the win.
They're quite vulnerable to chip as well, I would say.
Yep, chip damage. Just... Even
like if they lose like 2 or 3 models, like you lose 2 Varangard, that's gonna hurt your output a lot.
It is. That could be a third of the unit right there.
Well, that is, but yes.
I mean, you might bring a 9. I don't know why, because again, the other thing too is a lot of them are on big bases. They're big heavy cav, and if you're using a fair amount of terrain, it's going to be hard to maneuver to get enough models in sometimes to be effective.
Yeah,
so
like big 10 blocks of knights. Like I remember when first playing the book.
Yeah.
Trying to get 10 core knights into something without it just going like. Without it just feeling like.
It could be rough.
It hurt so much.
Yeah, and so you can see the learning curve here too. If you are a chaos player here, It's so, but again, looking at it from the other way, how do you beat Slaves to Darkness? I think we found some ways, whether it's through, using better magic, stopping their magic from going off, shooting screens, bringing your own hordes in. Impact hits are really useful.
Yeah. Even if it's like...
What?
Even if it's like just like a few mortal wounds, right? Like if you lose like 2 or 3 like models, right?
It hurts.
Yeah,
it hurts.
Especially if like you can get multiple units with impact hits onto the units, you can start to see the damage pile up.
Oh yeah, and even with like chip damage, as an example, my Pontifex, that can do mortal wounds at the beginning of combat and then after she fights. You know, it's...
Or Karkadrag.
I know, I'm sorry, dude.
You did like 6 damage to him.
She did, through the mortals. It was through your mortal wound save, and I'm like, well, you know, I have to try it. Because it...
Well, no. It was like also like you did like 3 normal damage as well. Like it just failed every save. It was just like, oh no.
I know, it was the dramatic swing of our game that brought me back into it. But
and I was like, no. Yeah.
Yeah, it happens. And, you know, it is. But if you're trying to beat an STD player, these are the things you have to think about doing and bringing into your army. I'd like to thank Bobo here for coming on the show. Do you have any closing thoughts?
Yes. A couple things.
Sure.
Fight on death.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Stuff like Sensor Bears fighting on death with Death Frenzy.
Ooh.
Huge.
It's a good shout.
Scary.
Oh yeah, because you don't have the range to deal with other melee armies.
Yep.
Okay. So that's a good one. Slaanesh, going into you.
Well, I learned that today. As a matter of fact, Blissbarb archers will pin cushion you from a mile away. It sometimes feels.
It's almost like they're elves. It's crazy.
Yeah, they have good shooting.
They do.
Glutos.
Oh, my man, gluten free. I love him. Glutos Iscariot or whatever the hell his name is.
Glutos is probably the most durable thing in that entire book.
Oh, he's one of the most durable things in the game. It's beautiful.
That's fair.
How does Nurgle play into you? If we're going down the line here.
Nurgle. Oh boy. That is, it depends on the list. If it's drowned men...
Mm-hmm. Glutos or Scolion is the model's name. 480 points, Lord of Gluttony. But yeah, okay, go on.
I'm just gonna call him Glucose.
Yeah, I call him gluten free because of food pun.
True.
Yeah.
What is it? Yeah. So stuff like Nurgle, where you can countercharge. Countercharging also hurts this army as well.
Man, those are great closing points. Oh, so good, I'll let you have one more. Do you have one more thing you want to go out and say to your adoring public?
Oh yes. Mortal Wounds I've mentioned already.
Mm-hmm.
Not piling in and countercharging is one thing.
Yeah.
There's something on the top of my head, but I can't. Oh yeah. If you get like a bunch of minuses to save, like stuff that just like ignores your saves.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Pity is a big one for this.
Tenumbral Blades, baby! The Edelgard lives!
Yeah. Oh my god, that 20 Blackguard with the blades.
Alright, so we've learned I've also scarred poor Bobo for the rest of his life. Thank you for coming on my show, though, bud. I appreciate you.
Yeah, no worries.
We'll have to get another game in soon. I'll play a different army, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens after Cities gets probably nerfed in the Battle Scroll for online out. They didn't do anything wrong. We haven't even been winning events. It's not even painted yet. I don't know. But thank you for watching, everybody. Be nice. Roll some dice. We'll see you next time. Bye.